Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 5 News a Day channel. Today we're covering the growing anger of Germany's far-right fringe, the best way to vote in the US elections from abroad, the rise of coronavirus cases in Spain and America, as well as the challenges of reopening British schools, and the revision of definition in one of the most popular dictionary. First news, a German far-right faction troubles officials. Hundreds of far-right activists who were waving the black, white and red flag out of the pre-1918 German Empire that once inspired the Nazis broke through a police barrier and tried to force their way into the German parliament. The events took place on Saturday in Berlin in front of the Reichstag. It was an alarming increase of demonstrations against Germany's response to the pandemic. The protests have grown steadily bigger and angrier. Even if the majority of Germans approved the country's measures to control the coronavirus as they were largely successful, some 38,000 protesters from all over the country flocked to Berlin in opposition. Among them were about 3,000 members of the far-right wing. Marcia Sken, the director of an institute that studies democracy, stated, "We have everything from Hofkirchner fans to Adolf Hitler fans on the street. It's a very disparate crowd, but what unites people is an angry discontent with the establishment. It's a mix of populist and egoist outrage." Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, the head of Chancellor Angela Merkel's center-right party, said, "It is intolerant that the Reich flag should fly again at the German parliament." Second news, how Americans abroad can vote. Out of the 4.8 million Americans who live abroad, only 2.9 million are eligible to vote. This year, the pandemic is making voting more complicated. Canada, Britain, Israel, France, Australia, and Japan have large number of eligible US voters. If you are an American citizen living overseas, you are fully entitled to vote in both primary and general election contests. The Democratic and Republican presidential candidates urge overseas Americans to vote. Ask Kim Kettler-Paddock, communications director for Republican overseas. By voting, Americans abroad also encourage members of Congress to pay attention to issues that affect their lives, like double taxation. When Americans overseas do not vote, our issues do not get taken up by legislators. Third news, coronavirus in Spain and America. In Europe, a second wave of coronavirus sweeps across Spain. If Italy was the harbinger of the first wave of Europe's coronavirus pandemic in February, Spain is the leading of its second in July. Already one of the hardest hit countries on the continent, Spain has recorded more than 53,000 new cases in the past week. The virus is spreading faster in the country than in the US, about 8 times the rate in Italy and Britain and 10 times the pace in Germany. In America, as some U.S. schools begin in-person classes, cases, hospitalizations, and deaths from the coronavirus are increasing at a faster pace in children and teenagers than among the general public. Fourth news, can Britain reopen its schools safely? Britain is at a critical moment in its handling of the coronavirus pandemic as millions of pupils return to classroom, mainly for the first time since March when the country went into lockdown. Most affirm that children need to be back in school, particularly those from poor backgrounds with inadequate internet access or none at all. But the move also risks a new peak in infection as young people and teachers mix. The relationship between the government and teachers is tense, especially following this summer's examination outcomes. Though ministers have promised to make mobile testing units available in the event of an outbreak, the government has struggled to establish an effective testing, tracking, and tracing system. Fifth news, revision of definitions in the dictionary. Dictionary.com, a 70 million monthly users website that claims itself as the world's leading digital dictionary, revises definitions to eliminate prejudiced language. Leading online reference announces making major changes to more than 15,000 of its definitions, from capitalizing black to updating entries about sexual orientation, aiming to bring out people of a clinical language. Dictionary.com's language referring to LGBTQIA community has been revised to change homosexual to gay and homosexuality to gay sexual orientation. The dictionary stated that the changes would put the focus on people, removing the implication of a medical diagnosis, sickness, or pathology when describing normal human behaviors and ways of being. The dictionary has also capitalized the word black in what it said was a mark of respect and recognition that's in line with capitalizing other cultures and ethnicities. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't hesitate to comment below what you think about today's news, your opinion, as well as potential solutions to the challenges covered. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell button, like this video if you learned something new, and share it on social media to make your friends able to learn something new too.